Alright, so let's start with question number 7. The equation of a curve C is such that dy by dx is equal to x minus 3 whole squared over radical x. The curve passes through the point 4, 7. Part A, find y in terms of x. So find y in terms of x just simply means that they want the equation of the curve. They want y. So you integrate dy by dx with respect to dx. Now this can be further written as x minus 3 whole squared times x to the power of minus half dx. Why x to the power of minus half? That's because radical x is simply x to the power of half. But since it was in the denominator and I brought it up, so it becomes x to the power of minus half. Now let's expand this. Okay, so this becomes x squared minus 6x plus 9 times x to the power of minus half dx. Okay, now let's further simplify this. So to further simplify this, you multiply x to the power of minus half with every single term inside the bracket. Now what do I mean by this? So for the x terms, since both are like terms, you add the power. So x to the power of 2 minus half, which is 3 over 2 minus 6. Again, there's an x term, so x, the power over here is 1. So 1 minus half is just half, plus 9x to the power of minus half dx. Now let's just integrate this. Now to integrate something, you add plus 1 to the original power and divide by the new power. Now let's see this. Let's solve it so you will understand this. 3 over 2 plus 1 is 5 over 2 and you divide it by the new power. You do the same thing over there. Minus 6, okay. X to the power of half plus 1 is 3 over 2 and you divide it by the new power. Plus 9, x to the power of minus half plus 1 is half and you divide it by the new power. Plus constant of integration. You always get a constant of integration while integrating. So you get y is equal to 2 over 5 x to the power of 5 over 2 minus 6 over 1.5 is 4 x to the power of 3 over 2 plus 9 over half is 9 times 2, which is 18 x to the power of half plus your constant of integration. Now what is this c? To find c, they have given you a point which is 4, 7. So just simply substitute that. 7 is equal to 2 over 5 into 4 to the power of 5 over 2 minus 4 times 4 to the power of 3 over 2 plus 18 times 4 to the power of half plus c. Okay, so let me put this in my calculator. 2 over 5 times 4 to the power of 2.5 minus 4 times 4 to the power of 1.5 plus 18 times 4 to the power of 0.5. Okay, so what is c? This part over here, this long thing, is 84 over 5. It simplifies to 84 over 5. So c, when you move it to the other side, it's 7 minus 84 over 5. Okay, so 7 minus 84 over 5, you get minus 49 over 5, which is minus 9.8. So you can write it either ways. Now what is your equation of the curve? It's basically the same thing over here, the same thing. You write everything, but instead of plus c, the c is minus 9.8. So this over here is your final answer. This is your final answer. Okay, wait, let me make it neater. Yes, perfect. Okay, so part B. The equation of a different curve D is also such that dy by dx is equal to x minus 3 whole squared over radical x. Alright, so it's the same thing. This curve instead passes through the point 4k. Describe in terms of k the transformation that maps curve C onto curve D. Okay, so both of the curves have the same dy by dx. They have same dy by dx. What does this mean? They have the same slope, right? But the thing is, curve C passes through 4, 7, while D passes through 4k. So even though dy by dx, the slope is the same, the equation of the curve isn't the same. Because till here, it might be the same. Okay, but C is what changes everything. C is different for curve C and is different for curve D. What I mean by C is constant of integration. So it's different for both the curves. Okay. So the transformation that maps curve C onto curve D is just simply D minus C. Okay, which is, let's write it in the form of vector notation. Okay, so 4k minus 4, 7. So it's simply 0 into k minus 7. Okay, so what does this mean though? This means that there's a vertical translation by k minus 7 units. Now this could be up or down, we don't know, and they never asked it as well. They just told us to describe in terms of k. So your final answer should be translation and simply 0 k minus 7. That's it. Question number 8, part A. Find the complete expansion of 3 minus 2x to the power of 4. Now over here we use something known as binomial theorem. Now why do we use this? Because if it's something like to the power of 2 or to the power of 3, we can use the identities. But for bigger powers, for bigger exponents, and to save time, we use binomial theorem. Now what does this say? A plus b to the power of n is the exponent, okay, can be written as the exponent n, c, which you can find it on your calculator, r. Now what is r? Just remember that for the first term, r is equal to 0 for the first term. Then for the second term, r is equal to 1, and so on. You go like that, okay? Times a to the power of n minus r times b to the power of r. So you have to remember this. Now let's apply the same thing over here. Write the general form first. 4cr times 3 to the power of 4 minus r times minus 2x to the power of r. Okay. Now they want the complete expansion. So start with r is equal to 0 to get the first term. 3 to the power of 4 times minus 2x to the power of 0. Then you do 4c1 times 3 to the power of 3 times minus 2x to the power of 1. This is the second term. Then 4c2 times 3 to the power of 2 times minus 2x squared. Then 4c3 times 3 to the power of 1 times minus 2x to the power of 3, 4c 4 times 3 to the power of 0 times minus 2x to the power of 4. So this is really easy, you just need some practice. Okay, now plug these into your calculator. Okay, so 4c0 is 1, 3 to the power of 4 is 81, and anything to the power of 0 is 1, so 81. Okay, then 4c1 is just 4, 3 to the power of 3 is 27 times minus 2x, so 4 times 27 times minus 2, which gives you minus 216x. Okay, now 4c2, okay, so that's 6 times 3 squared is 9 times 4x squared, so this gives you 6 times 9 times 4, which again gives you 216, but x squared this time. Okay, now 4c3, okay, what's 4c3? It's just simply 4 times 3 times minus 8 x cube, so 4 times 3 times minus 8 gives you minus 96 x cube. Okay, now 4c4 is 0, I reckon. No, 1 1 times 3 to the power of 0 is 1 times minus 2 to the power of 4 is 16x to the power of 4. Okay, so this gives you 16x to the power of 4. So the complete expansion is 81 minus 216x plus 216x squared minus 96x cubed plus 16x to the power of 4. Now part B. Use your answer to question number 8a to find 3 minus 2 root 2 to the power of 4. Give your answer in the form p plus q root 2, where p and q are integers to be determined. Okay, now if you look at part A, it was 3 minus 2x to the power of 4. And what is it over here? It's 3 minus 2 root 2 to the power of 4. Did you notice something? Instead of x, for x, we substitute root 2. That's it. And we have already found the completed version of it, which is 81 minus 216x plus 216x squared minus 96x cubed plus 16x to the power of 4. So we substituted over here. Okay, so 81 minus 216 times root 2 plus 216 times root 2 squared minus 96 times root 2 whole cube plus 16 times root 2 to the power of 4. Now what does this give you? This simplifies to 81 minus 216 root 2, okay, plus 216 times 2, because the radical and the square cancel out, so that gives you 432 minus, okay, what is root 2 whole cube? That's 2 root 2, yeah. So minus 96 into 2 root 2 plus 16 into root 2 to the power of 4, which is 4. Okay, so this gives you 81 minus 216 root 2 plus 432, 96 times 2, okay, minus 192 root 2 plus 16 times 4 is 64. Okay, now we have to give it in the form p plus q radical 2. So what do we do? 81 plus 432 plus 64, which is 577, minus 216 minus 192, which is minus 408 root 2. That's it. Okay. Question number 10. The seventh term of an arithmetic progression is 77. The sum of the first n terms of the progression is denoted by Sn. It is given that S11 is equal to 880. Part A. Find the 20th term of the progression. So first of all, we know that it's an arithmetic progression. So just write the formulas. A plus n minus 1 times d. By the way, this is for an, and for sum we do n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. They want us to find the 20th term of the progression, but we don't know what is a and what is the common difference d. So we have to find something using the givens. So they said that the seventh term of an arithmetic progression is 77. So a7, which is equal to a plus n minus 1, 7 minus 1, which is 6d, is equal to 77. So you get your first equation over here. Now similarly, they said that sum of the first 11 terms is 880. So S11, which is equal to 11 over 2 into 2 times a plus n minus 1, which is 11 minus 1, which is 10d. Now what does this simplify to? This simplifies to 11a plus 110d, I guess. Let me check. 5.5 times 9. No. This is 55d. Okay. And this is equal to 880. So a plus, 11a plus 55d is equal to 880. A plus 6d is equal to 77. So let's solve this simultaneously. So let's multiply the below equation by minus 11 and then add them up. So this leads to, the top one stays the same and the bottom one becomes minus 11a minus 66d, and 77 times minus 11 is equal to minus 847. Okay, now just add them up. So this is just nothing. Okay, 55d minus 66d, so that's minus 11d, which is equal to 880 minus 847, which is equal to 33. So d is equal to 33 over minus 11, which is equal to minus 3. Now a plus 6d is equal to 77. So a is equal to 77 minus 6d. d is minus 3. So a is equal to 77 plus 18, which is equal to 95. Okay. So they want the 20th term, a20, which is equal to a plus n minus 1 times d, which is 20 minus 1 times d, which is 19d. which is equal to A is 95 plus 19 times D is minus 3. So 95 plus 19 times minus 3, which is equal to 38. Okay. Part B. Find the smallest number of terms n such that sum of the first n terms is less than 50. So we know that S of n is equal to n over 2 into 2 times A. What is A? A we found out to be 95 plus n minus 1 times D. So n minus 1 times D is minus 3, okay? Yeah, minus 3. And this should be less than 50. So let's further simplify this. N over 2 into 95 times 2 is 190 minus 3n plus 3, which should be less than 50. Now multiply both sides of the equation by 2. Okay, this and this cancels out. So this leads to n into, this leads to 193n, because inside 190 plus 3 is 193 times n, which is 193n minus 3n squared, which is less than 100. Okay, so this means 193n minus 3n squared minus 100 is less than 0. Okay, so let's multiply this by minus 1. Why? Because over here the leading coefficient is negative, so let's make it simply easier. Let's make it simple and multiply it by minus 1. So 3n squared minus 193n plus 100 is greater than 0. Okay, why greater than 0 this time? Because every time you multiply by a negative number or divide by a negative number, you flip the signs. Okay, now let's use the quadratic formula. Okay, so minus b, so 1, what is the quadratic formula? Let me write it. Minus b plus minus radical b squared minus 4ac over 2 times a. So 193 plus minus radical b squared. So 193 squared minus 4 times 3 times 100 over 2 times 3. Okay, so solve this on your calculator and let's see what do we get. Minus 4 times 3 times 100 over 2 times 3. So this implies that n is equal to 63.8 or n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 0.522. Yes, 0.522. Okay, they want the smallest number of terms, smallest number of n. Okay, what is the smallest number of n? So they want the smallest value of n basically. So we know that n is positive integer, means it cannot be negative and it cannot be 0 as well. Okay, so n cannot be 0 and it has to be an integer. So over here, first of all, let's see what the solution looks like. So we have 3n squared. Okay, 3n squared. So the graph looks something like this. You should know this by quadratics, okay? And we found the solution to be 0.522 and 63.8. And we said that it's greater than 0. So meaning that it's above the x-axis, okay? So this one and this one. This implies that n is less than 0.522 and n is greater than 63.8. Okay, so is there any integer that comes before before 0.522? It's less than 0.522. Yes, there is. 0 is an integer, but we said that n cannot be 0. So basically this does not satisfy. Okay, we do not get anything from there. Now n greater than 63.8. Okay, what is an integer that comes directly after 63.8? It is 64. N is equal to 64. Now let's confirm this. Okay, let's confirm this and let's plug it over here. Okay, let's plug it over here. What does this give us? 64 over 2 into 193 minus 3 times 64. This should be less than 50. Is it less than 50? Let's check it out. 64 times 2 into 193 minus 3 times 64. Yes, we get 32, which is less than 50. So it is n is equal to 64. Now let's just try n is equal to 63. Only for understanding, okay? Only for understanding. N is equal to 63. Okay, so 63 over 2 into 193 minus 3 times 63. This would give us 63 over 2 into 193 minus 3 times 63. This gives you 126. And is it less than 50? It is greater than 50. So no, it does not satisfy. So therefore n is equal to 64 is the smallest value of n. Question number 11. The diagram shows the curve with equation y is equal to minus x cubed plus 9x squared minus 15x minus 3 and a straight line. The straight line passes through the two stationary points of the curve. Part A showed that the equation of the straight line is y is equal to 8x minus 18. Okay, so we have a clue that the straight line passes through the two stationary points. Now to find stationary points of a curve, what do we do? To find stationary points, dy by dx should be equal to 0. So we find dy by dx and equate it to 0. Dy by dx means deriving the equation. So you should know this. Minus 3x squared. Okay, minus 3x squared plus 18x minus 15 should be equal to 0. Now let's factor this. Minus 3 into x squared minus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. Now x squared minus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay, so by middle term breaking, I guess you know how to factor this. Minus 5x minus x plus 5 equal to 0. Now factor this again. X into x minus 5 minus 1 into x minus 5 is equal to 0. This implies that x minus 1 into x minus 5 is equal to 0. You could have done it mentally also, but you have to show your working. So that's why x is equal to 1 or x is equal to 5. Is that it? No. We have to find the y coordinate as well. So y coordinate, y at x is equal to 1. We just simply substitute it into the original equation. Minus 1 cube plus 9 times 1 squared minus 15 times 1 minus 3. What do we get over here? Minus 1 plus 9 minus 15 minus 3. We get minus 10. You do the same thing. Y at x is equal to 5 is equal to minus 5 cube plus 9 times 5 squared minus 15 times 5 minus 3. Okay, so minus 125 plus 9 times 25 minus 15 times 5 minus 3, you get 22. Alright, so we have found the coordinates of the points, which are 1 minus 10 and 5 22. We have to find the equation of the straight line. So find the slope first, which is, you should know how to find the slope by now. Okay, 22 minus 10 over 5 minus 1, which is simply 32 over 4, which is 8. And we can already see that the slope of this is also 8. So we are getting closer to the final answer. Now you can just take any of the points, okay? Let's take this because this looks simpler, okay? So y minus y naught, which is minus 10, is equal to the slope into x minus 1. So y plus 10 is equal to 8x minus 8. Okay, this implies that y is equal to 8x minus 8 minus 10, which is 18. And is that the final answer? Yes, so we have proved it. If you want to know how I got this one over here, basically I used this y minus y0 is equal to m into x minus x0. Okay, so you should know this. Part B. Verify the curve also meets the straight line when x is equal to 3. Verify the curve also meets the straight line when x is equal to 3. So, for curve y at x is equal to 3, substitute it, okay? So, minus 3 cube plus 9 times 3 squared minus 15 times 3 minus 3. Okay, I just substitute 3 over here, okay, in the original equation of the curve. Plus 9 times 3 squared minus 15 times 3 minus 3, I get 6. Okay, now for them to meet, they must have the same coordinates, meaning that for line at x is equal to 3, you should also get the same answer. 8 times 3 minus 18, which is 24 minus 18, which is 6 also. Okay, so since we can write, since both are equal to 6, curve meets the line at x is equal to 3. Part C. The shaded region is bounded by the curve and straight line. Find the area of the shaded region. Let's go back to the graph. So over here I have already marked, I have shaded the region so that we can know which area they want. So let's name this as area 1 and let's name this as area 2. And by the way, how do we find area? Area is equal to integral of top minus bottom dx. What do I mean by top and bottom? The thing that is on the top. So over here, the line is on the top and this is on the bottom. Bottom, top. Now, for area 2, we see that the curve is on the top and this line is at the bottom. So this is what I mean by top and bottom. And by the way, the question says that the straight line passes through the two stationary points of the curve. So the stationary points, what were they? Let's just take the x values 1 and 5. So this has to be 1, x is equal to 1. That's better. And this is x is equal to 5. And in part B, we said that the curve and the line intersects at x is equal to 3 as well. So this has to be x is equal to 3. Somewhere in between x is equal to 5 and x is equal to 1. This diagram, by the way, will be given to you on the exam question paper. But over here, I have drawn it due to copyright issues. That's the reason I'm solving it manually. Alright, so we have to find the area of the shaded region. So area shaded is actually equal to area 1 plus area 2. Now what is area 1? Area 1 is equal to integral of top minus bottom. Over here the top was the line, which is 8x minus 18 minus bottom minus the equation of the curve. So basically you're multiplying it by minus 1. So basically just flip the signs of every term. Plus x cube minus 9x squared plus minus 9x squared and plus 15x plus 3. I switched the sign because it was minus, so minus, you know that it changes the sign. Okay, so I didn't want to waste time, that's why I did it quickly. Now this could be further written as x cube minus 9x squared, 8x plus 15x is 23x, minus 18 plus 3 is minus 15, not plus, minus 15 dx. Now again we integrate this as we discussed earlier. You add 1 and divide by the new power, so it becomes x to the power of 4 over 4 minus 9x to the power of 3 over 3, which can be written as 3x cube. Okay, so I'm already simplifying it from now, plus 23x to the power of 2 over 2. This cannot be simplified further, minus 15x. By the way, wait a second, we forgot to add the boundaries. Area 1 is between x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 3. So I forgot to write that. 1, 3. 1, 3. So over here, let me make this smaller. Okay, so from 1 to 3. By the way, if you had noticed that earlier we had a constant of integration, but this time we don't, because whenever there are boundaries or limits, you do not have a constant of integration, okay, because plus c minus c, it cancels out, okay. Now we just substitute, okay. This is area 1, not the total area, by the way. 3 to the power of 4 over 4 minus 3 times 3 cube. You have to show your working like this, as I have shown, to earn full marks in the exam. Okay. Now minus 1 to the power of 4 over 4 minus 3 times 1 cube plus 23 over 2 times 1 squared minus 15 times 1. Now plug these into your calculator. So what we get is, for this part we get minus 9 over 4, then minus this thing is minus 25 over 4. So if you do this on your calculator, you get 4. So we know that area 1 is equal to 4. Now for area 2, we do the same thing, but keep in mind that you can't do the same thing. That's a bit contradictory, but let's see. Because over here, now the curve is at the top, okay? So we do minus x cubed plus 9x squared minus 15x plus 9x squared minus 15x minus 3 minus the line minus 8x, wait, plus 18, okay? I changed the sign because minus. Let me just show you what I mean. It was minus 8x minus 18. So minus 8x plus 18. That's what I did over here. Okay. Dx. And by the way, again, let's not forget to mention the limit, the boundaries. It's from x is equal to 3 to x is equal to 5. Okay. 3 to 5. That's our boundary. Now let's further simplify this, okay? This could be written as 3 to 5 minus x cubed plus 9x squared minus 15x minus 8x is minus 23x minus 3 plus 18 is plus 15 and dx, okay? So again, as we integrated it earlier, we add 1 and divide by the new power. Plus 3x cubed minus 23 over 2x squared plus 15x from 3 to 5. Okay. Now again we show the working. We have to show the substitution. Okay. Minus 5 to the power of 4 over 4 plus 3 times 5 cubed minus 23 over 2 times 5 squared plus 15 times 5 minus the lower one. Now you substitute 3 minus 3 to the power of 4 over 4 plus 3 times 3 cube minus 23 over 2 times 3 squared plus 15 times 3. Okay, now plug these values into your calculator. Alright, so for this part I get 25 over 4 minus this part simplifies to 9 over 4 and again you will get 4. So what is area shaded? It was A1 plus A2, which is equal to 4 plus 4, which is equal to 8 square units. Okay, so that's it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you found this video useful.